Hey there guys, and welcome back to Alex Invests, and wow, we have quite a few things to talk about today. First of all, I want to look at some of the changes I've made to my portfolio, what I've been adding to, and you guys know what I've been adding to. We're going to talk about some of those today, starting off with MVMD, of course. They just recently have updated their pipeline on their website, so I want to go through that with you guys, why I'm so bullish. And just some of the things we can expect in the next few months here. Then I want to talk to you guys about heat, obviously, because we have just been skyrocketing in heat here, and it is great to see. I want to go through some of the reasons why we might be down today. So we're going to go through that, and then I want to talk to you guys about CMC quickly as well, just because they had some news come out yesterday on a couple new board members, and that involves some potential government contracts coming up as well. So that is kind of what I want to talk to you guys about, and we'll just start off quickly with the portfolio here. So these are my main holdings now. I am working on something for you guys actually, which involves basically me showing my holdings online for you guys, so you can just always see them, but that's still in the works, and we're not quite there yet. So FCell and MVMD are my two biggest holdings right now. They represent about 15% of my portfolio. Tesla is close to that as well, probably around 12 to 13%. Hillcrest again around 12 to 13%. Cielo as well about 12 to 13%, and then the rest of these are kind of the rest of the portfolio here. Obviously SQQQ and TQQQ just here to kind of show, and we can see that, you know, in general the markets are up today, but of course, you know, my portfolio is mostly down today. That tech and innovation sector is still, you know, not kind of recovering like I was originally expecting, but I do still see good things there. So let's move on to MVMD here. Now we have had a little bit of a rally today, but you know, nothing compared to where we were. But again, news based here, right? And I do see us coming out with news soon here, or MVMD coming out with news soon here, because if we look at their website here, now this is an interesting new thing that they've put on their website. And it basically is the pipeline here. If we click up here, right, we get to this, and we can kind of see the things that they're working on here, right? Literally their pipeline. So the 2 lane trials for the dose sparing, right? That's coming out pretty soon here, May 2021, right? We can see Q1, Q2, or where it's at here, right? Partnering licenses as well. Now this is for the dose sparing adjuvant. So both of these, we're expecting news here soon, and it's just really, really good things, especially these partnering licenses, right? We've been waiting for some sort of revenues here to come in with some partnerships, and really that's what a lot of people are waiting for. Especially the dose sparing adjuvant really isn't even their main kind of project here that they're doing, but more of a secondary, and even there we're seeing some partner licensing coming in, and other things, right? Human trials again expected Q4 there. Cold chain, now this is one of the things that I'm most excited for, maybe not in the near term, but in the longer term, just because with the whole idea of getting rid of cold chain with using their desiccated liposome there, basically for transport outside of the cold chain is just, it's going to be a huge industry if they're able to make this work. Now we do have the partnering license coming up, but there's still quite a few tests to be done, in my opinion. Obviously, you know, some of these trials are already very positive. For example, the preliminary cold chain testing, right, where they were able to go up to 25 degrees Celsius without affecting the vaccine. So really good things there also coming. And these are kind of the reasons why I'm so bullish, right? Because there's so much news coming out here in the near term, with partnerships, with trials, you know, in all these different sectors. Right here we have the macrocyclic lactone solubilization, that's the ivermectin, the selamectin, right? And the BSL-4 trial here, also, you know, expected in May, not too far away here, guys. And now, I know what a lot of people are saying and thinking, oh, well, it's a 50-50 here, right? Either they're going to go to the moon, or they're going to go to, you know, 20 cents or whatever, right? If some of these things don't work out. But first of all, they have so many different trials in so many different spaces. It's going to be hard for them to fail all of them, firstly. Secondly, all the things that they're doing are very different from each other. So if one fails, the other one can still very likely do well. Now, the third has to do with kind of some of the lanes that they're in, right? For example, cold chain here. They've already preliminarily proven that they can go up to 25 degrees Celsius. Now, this is their FDA cold chain approval coming out, right? And they want to go between 30 degrees and 45 degrees Celsius. They've already proven basically 25 degrees Celsius. So, you know, people say 50-50 here, but it's really more of like a 80-20 or even a 90-10 here chance that they're going to rock it, in my opinion. Because of this, but not only this, you know, if we take a look here with the BSL-4 trial that they're doing, right, that reporting in May, and then also the 505(b)(2) pathway here for the US FDA, both of these involve ivermectin, and now ivermectin is already a drug that's on the market, right? And all they're really trying to prove here is that, first of all, it's safe for human consumption within that IV format, which again, this is the first company that's been able to produce ivermectin that is solubilized in order to use for IV, right? So that's the first thing, and then basically proving that, so that's this, right? So proving that it's safe for humans, which it basically already is proven because they already have that oral form of ivermectin, which they have used in humans, and not so much in the Western world here, but in other places for sure. So that, and then the BSL-4 here, proving that their IV form is better than the oral form in multiple different senses here. Now, why this is so likely to be the case is because the fact that it is IV basically automatically makes it more bioavailable, automatically makes it essentially more effective in the body than you could ever really get with oral form. That's just how it works. You know, when you have IV, it's more effective than oral. So with this BSL-4, it's almost a guarantee that it's going to be successful here, and that's why, you know, people say 50-50, either it tanks or it rockets. Well, I don't think that's really the case here, just because of the things that they're working on. Now, if this was, you know, a new drug coming onto the market, then it would be more like a 50-50, but because these are already existing drugs, which they're just making better, and there's already preliminary trials that have basically proven that that is the case, I think a lot of these are going to be actually very successful, and it's going to push the price up much faster than a lot of people think. Now, of course, there are still risks. Things can go wrong. Some of these might not work out, some might work out, but in general, I think we're going to see a higher price off of this news. If some don't work out, there's still just the likelihood that a lot of the other ones will, right? And so let's just go through the rest of this timeline here quickly. I know I spent quite a little while there explaining that, but I think it's important to mention. So this is the stuff with selamectin, right? We're not going to see much of this till Q2, Q3 really, but the main kind of steps here with what they have is ivermectin, right? First in the animals, and then in humans for COVID, right? That's something they're pushing right now as well. The cold chain polio stuff, IPV with polio, that's going to be a big one moving forward as well, and then selamectin, I think. So it's kind of, and we can kind of see their timeline suggests that as well, right? We have this partnership. That's the other thing, right? We have these partnerships coming up already, which are in the pipeline, and that makes me very bullish as well. Like if we go down to here, see this quick zone partnering license contracting in progress starting in Q1 2021. Guys, we're nearing the end of Q1 2021 here. So I don't know, I think we might see an agreement soon, especially with, if you guys remember from my last video, how Dennis Hancock was saying the shorts are going to lose soon, and I have a feeling it has something to do with some of these partnering licenses, these agreements that they have coming out here. Because we saw there's quite a few that are in that pipeline for Q1 here again, you know, for the sublingual cannabis as well. They have that Q1. Now this one probably isn't going to be as big of a partnership than, for example, this sublingual nutraceutical here with the QuickZome. I think that's going to be probably a bigger partnership. Same with obviously the cold chain up here as well. This is probably going to be a bigger partnership too. So things are moving here quickly, and it is awesome. I think we are going to see some news coming up soon. I picked up some shares of MVMD today. I have a limit order as well for $1 a share because unfortunately I just missed that 0.98 there this morning, guys. I was pretty upset about that. So yeah, I would be excited. I wouldn't be too worried that we're coming down, and that is. Now let's go into a few things on heat here. Now, obviously we've had a huge run in heat. Where's heat? Here we are. So, name change, obviously, ticker change, and exchange change, Inigo IP, all those things just happened, and we see what happened to the price, right? We were down here. This is where I was telling you guys, buy, 0.21, anything below that, buy, right? And then we had this huge run all the way to 0.48, which is absolutely incredible. And part of the reason for that, I think, is because of that name change and because of the exchange change from the TSXV to the CSE. A lot of people, right, were not able to sell their shares of heat, and I think that's still the case for some people. I know for myself, if I try and trade my Hillcrest Petroleum shares, before it became heat, I'm not able to do that yet. And I think that actually contributes partly to this run that we've been seeing because people aren't able to sell any shares. So that's the first one. Regardless, I wouldn't have been selling any shares anyways. But I was thinking about it right here at the 0.41 level, just because I knew the next day, which is today, that some of these shares are going to start getting unlocked. I know for some brokers now, you are able to trade those HRH shares, now heat shares, but the ones that were originally HRH bought, some brokers now allow you to trade. I still cannot trade those shares though on my HSBC. So I think that's part of the reason why we've seen a little bit of a drop today in the stock price. That and of course this huge run that we've seen off of just some news, which is interesting because the news in some cases, for example, the Inigo IP actually came out before we had this big run. So that's quite interesting to note there, and this run kind of came from that name change actually, which surprises me that a lot of that didn't come from the Inigo IP. Still, I don't see us going much below that 0.35 level. This is, I think, the 0.34 here. This is kind of our new base, in my opinion, and I don't see us going too much below that. So that's heat. Do expect some news on heat though soon as well, with some other partnerships. That AC/DC deal, they do have another deal as well, I believe, coming through there. So do stay tuned for that. I think it's going to continue to push up the price. So I'm holding. I would suggest holding. You can obviously sell a bit of shares. I wouldn't really sell shares at the 0.35 to be honest, but if we come back up to that 0.4 level, it's not a bad time to maybe take a little bit of profits. Of course, that being said, again, with sort of the potential of more news coming out in April, April is supposed to be that big month where, they have the name change, they have the Inigo IP, and the next thing there's that AC/DC deal and that other deal, and it's all kind of happening at once here. So that's why I'm hesitant to sell any shares, because there could be news any day, right? But in general, that's my opinion there. So finally, CMC coming back down today. We had this run yesterday. Pretty much all those gains were wiped out today. And the reason we kind of saw that run is on this news right here. And it basically, Cielo announces the appointment of Peter Mackay and Jasdeep Dhaliwal to the board of directors, and the appointment of a new CFO, right? But what is so great about this is Mr. Peter Mackay here to provide strategic advice and invaluable guidance on government and public services industry practice, infrastructure, economic development. So he's going to help them through these steps. But now who is he, right? He served in the Parliament of Canada for over 18 years as a member of Parliament and cabinet minister for 10 years in high-profile positions, including Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Minister of National Defense, Minister of Foreign Affairs. So what that means is that he's going to be able to give them government contracts for, first of all, subsidies for clean energy here, but also contracts to be able to build these facilities in Canada and across the world. And that's exactly what Mr. Mackay says here, right? He says, "I am grateful to work with such innovative, action-oriented, and entrepreneurial people as Don Allen and the Cielo team. I'm looking forward to contributing and working with the Cielo team to take them to the next level and introduce the company to my government and industry contacts, and to take this valuable technology nationally and even globally." And again, like I just said, what that means is there's going to be government contracts coming in nationally and globally here. Contracts, subsidies, all this other great stuff that we get from the government, that companies get from the government, you know, and being in this kind of clean tech sector, doing something that nobody else is doing by eliminating plastics, it's going to be big. And having somebody like this working for them to be able to get those contracts is amazing. And like I set up here, right, guidance on industry practices, infrastructure and economic development, right? And that is, again, so that they can get these subsidies, so they can get these government contracts going. And this is the man for that. So just absolutely fantastic in my opinion. And I actually think it's right for that, for the stock price to run from that, just because of all the potential for these kind of new government contracts coming in. Of course, again, future things, right? Speculation there again, but more likely than not going to happen there, right? So, and again, Ms. Dhaliwal has previously worked with large public entities listed in North American markets, as well as consulting with private corporations during periods of rapid expansion and growth. Obviously, the stage that CMC is in right now, and you know, another good member here. Not as excited about Ms. Dhaliwal here as I am for Mackay here, but still good things to come from that too. So two good new additions to their board, and I think that will help them, you know, be able to kind of grow and expand here moving forward, especially with those government contracts there, right, guys? So yeah, that is pretty much going to do it for the video today, guys. I hope you liked it. A little bit of a longer one, but I had a few things to cover there. So other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Please like and subscribe to the video. As always, share if you would like to do that too. And have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys on Wednesday.